Hello, everybody. Welcome to Module 1, the first module in Media Ethics Fall 2018. If you have not done so already, please go to the Go Here First page and watch this video here. All right, check out the syllabus and all that stuff. And if you have not done so already, please go to the faculty link, click on Remind, and sign up for that so that we can communicate. Hopefully you've done all that already. Okay, Module 1. Now, what's important to understand is that Module 1 is going to be structured and have a format just like Module 2, 3, and so on and so forth. So it might take me a little bit longer than usual to explain this module to you, but after this, you'll pretty much know the routine. It should be very straightforward. And what I wanted to do with Module 1 was to give you a topic that was very accessible from the start so that you didn't need a lot of background information. And that's why I've chosen to do plagiarism and fabrication. Fabrication means just like making up stuff. And plagiarism, of course, has a wide range of meanings, but I think everybody sort of understands that. Like I mentioned before, Module 1 and all modules will take about 2 weeks to complete. Module 1 goes from Monday, August 27th through Friday, September 7th. Now, you are welcome to complete the work at your own pace whenever you like. There are specific due dates. For example, the first homework is due at the end of the first week, and then the discussion board post and responses are due at the beginning and end of the following week. But if you complete the work the night before or the morning of or whatever it is, there's really no way for me to know. I don't recommend doing it last minute, but it's entirely up to you. Okay, so you should be aware of that. And all you have to do, and I'll explain this in more detail in a second, is click on the various readings and viewings. And once you finish those, click and work on the homework assignments. All right? You should complete everything by midnight on Friday, September 7th, but of course email me with any questions. And what I've provided you with here, something to get us started, is an image here of a website for a company that doesn't actually exist, never existed, called Juked Micronics. Now, Juked Micronics was a company that was fabricated, made up by a writer named Stephen Glass. Stephen Glass worked for a magazine called The New Republic. It's still a magazine today, mostly around politics, DC stuff, etc., etc. But Stephen Glass, as a writer, made up most of his stories that he wrote for The New Republic. There's an interesting movie with Anakin Skywalker from the Star Wars movies, but it's about Stephen Glass instead. He plays Stephen Glass, so if you can find that movie, watch it. It's really interesting. But I provided you with a Wikipedia page so you can get some more information if you like. You're not required to read the whole Wikipedia page. It's just there as like an add-on. I like to, whenever I put up images, I like to have something that you can click on to go with it. Anyway, here's Juked Micronics, a terrible attempt at to fool some people. All right, so let's get into fabrication and plagiarism, and I'll take you through the links, and then you can go through them in detail on your own time. So let's get right into it. One of the most famous articles that Stephen Glass wrote, and the one that ultimately was his downfall, was something called Hack Heaven. And if you click on, see right down here, I'm in this section right here, if you haven't figured that out. If you click on Hack Heaven, an article will pop up as the one written by Stephen Glass, and the article is about this 15-year-old computer hacker, and he's at this hacker conference, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, it's completely made up, but it's very interesting, and this appeared in The New Republic. It's not very long, and so what I'd like you to do is read Hack Heaven by Stephen Glass, which was published on May 18th, 1998. Now, after you read Hack Heaven, what I'd like you to read is an article by Adam Penenberg, who worked for Forbes Online Reporting at the time. He wrote this article called Lies, Damn Lies, and Fiction. Now, this is the reporter who discovered, basically, that Stephen Glass had lied or created fabricated Hack Heaven. And this ultimately led to them sort of exploring or investigating all of his articles, which then sort of created this big snowball effect. Anyway, Read Lies, Damn Lies, and Fiction, which is the investigation of Stephen Glass's fabricated Hack Heaven story. And then, because I like to show all the various sides of this sort of thing, I want you to watch this interview with Stephen Glass. It's very short. If you click on the link, the YouTube page will open up. It's only a 5-minute interview. This is Stephen Glass right here. Young guy, very sort of charismatic in a way, or interesting at least. This weird suggestions. I hate the whole suggestion thing on YouTube. Anyway, totally off topic. So watch this. You simply click play. It's gonna be a little loud. All right, there's a pretty butchered. It's very old, so the quality is poor. But you get the sense, and I think it's interesting to watch Stephen Glass sort of answer some questions about why he did what he did, or at least why he thinks he did what he did. Okay, so that's a little section there where you can begin to think about fabrication. And then we'll move on to the issue of plagiarism, which is similar but I think different than fabrication. Okay, so for plagiarism, instead of this historical piece, what I wanted to provide with you is something a little more recent that you could relate to. And one of the more recent issues of plagiarism, there's been plenty, but one of the more recent issues of plagiarism that's popped up, especially with stuff being so online, is a recent account of plagiarism against someone, this guy right here, Philip Mushin, I forget exactly how to pronounce the name, who plagiarized or supposedly plagiarized a video game review. He was working for video game reviewer IGN at the time, and so right here I have the article by another video game website called Kotaku, which is about this guy plagiarizing his video game review. And what's interesting in it is they'll have here some original reviews and then his review where you can compare and contrast the similarities. So very similar to the Adam Penneberg article that you would have read. And then I have a link to McDaniel's honor system code. If you scroll down a little bit here, you can read about how McDaniel views plagiarism, right? Clearly McDaniel has a view on plagiarism. And the reason I do this is because every organization has its own view of plagiarism. Generally, they're very similar, but I think it's interesting to see how the school that you attend views plagiarism. And then finally, you can watch a side-by-side comparison. This is... That's odd that video popped up. This is not what I'm looking for you to watch, this commercial. But it is interesting that it was side by side like that.
What's up, guys?
This is the original video that created the snowball effect for the review, or the reviewer to go downhill. And what you have here is, on the right here, you have the Boomstick Gaming review, which is the small independent guy who does reviews. And then you have the plagiarized review on the left, and the guy who does the online reviews for Boomstick Gaming is saying, hey, here's my review, look how similar it is to the one on the left. So again, very similar to the Penneberg piece in a way, just a modern, updated version of that. Okay, so peruse through all of that stuff, presumably in the order that I've laid it out, but I mean, you don't have to, but I think it makes sense that way. And then you'll have a good amount of information or case studies to begin to think about this notion of fabrication and plagiarism. Now, once you've done all that, right, presumably you take roughly the first 4, 5, even 6 days of the week to do that. After that, by Monday, September 2nd, I want you to write a short paper in response. Now, all you have to do, maybe I did that too fast, do this is you click on this link here, right? homework number 1 due Monday, September 2nd. Click here, excuse me, and this is where you will write your paper. Now, what you can do is, see right here it says points possible 7, you can click and see the rubric that I'll use to grade you. So I'm concerned with content and reasoning, clarity, writing, and grammar. There's various points assigned to each one of them. Whatever format or type of writing you're used to in your major is fine. It's an academic paper, so I'm not looking for text speak or like you're talking to a friend, but there's no specific way in which I want you to write this other than, the standard writing practices that you're already familiar with. And so what I'm looking for you to do is to write a 2 to 3 page typed double-spaced paper that answers the following questions, okay? Is fabrication in journalism, media, education, whatever format we're talking about, is it ethically wrong and why? What about plagiarism? Same question. Now, it might seem obvious to you how you would respond to this. And most people would say, yes, it is ethically wrong. Some people might say, no, it's not wrong. And that's fine. There's an argument to be made there as well. But most people don't know why they think it's wrong. So I'm really asking you to explore why you think fabrication or plagiarism in journalism and media is wrong. What is wrong about this? In many cases, it's not legally wrong, at least in academia, right? Plagiarizing in school, it can be very bad for you. You can get a bad grade. You can get expelled from the school. Nothing legal is going to happen to you. So that's interesting that there's this distinction there. And as you write your paper, try to use some examples or ideas or references to the readings and viewings in your paper. So not only do I want you answering the questions in your paper, but I want you sort of demonstrating that you've looked at the stuff that I've put on line for Module 1. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, the way you submit this is, well, there's a number of ways. First thing is you could click Write Submission. And if you wanted to, you could type whatever into this little space here, right? And you could save the draft. It's on the bottom right down here. See me wiggling over it. You could save that as you go. You can totally do it that way. Another way might be to write it in whatever word processing software you have and then cut and paste it into here. Right? That's totally fine. Or you could write it in whatever it is, format or word processing software you have, click Browse My Computer, and you could upload the file there. That's totally fine. You could click this little button here, and then you click Submit. Don't put stuff in the comment section. This is not where I want you. I make that go big again. This place here is not where I want you to submit stuff. If there's little notes or information you want me to know outside of the paper, you can put it there. But that's not where you put stuff. Okay? And then when you're finally done, you click Submit, and then I get it. If you run into any issues or worse comes to worse, you can always just email me the paper. This is the preferred format. Okay? But if Blackboard's down or something happens, whatever, just email it to me. Okay? All right, let me cancel that. Now, whoops, where did I end up going? Back to Module 1 now. And of course, you could click on Homework Assignments here to go to that assignment directly if you want to. Now, the final part of the homework assignments for Module 1 are going to be to post to the discussion board and respond to some posts on the discussion board. So here's how you do that. You click, see where it says discussion board post number 1, due Tuesday, September 3rd. So by that time, right, this is after you've posted or submitted your homework, you click here, and all you need to do is to click Reply right here. And what it says I want you to do is, with around 250 to 500 clearly written and thoughtful words, discuss the following question. Is plagiarism, particularly in media, wrong? Why or why not? Now, what I'm looking for you to do here is to answer the question, and it's sort of like you're condensing the 2 to 3 pages that you've written into like a paragraph or two that then your peers will read. So this is a little less formal. It has, obviously a little less detailed. And you simply click Reply, and then in the message thing, you write stuff here. Okay? And then you click Submit. And then it will, go on to the thread. Hopefully that makes sense. Once you have done that, right, or once everyone has done that, come back later on Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday, and I want you to respond to 3 other people's posts. So you click on the link there, it takes you back to the same place. But a link will show, all of everybody's, I don't know how to represent this. Everybody's sort of post will go in here. I mean, you guys hopefully are familiar with like Reddit, blogs, stuff like that. It's just going to look like that. What I want you to do is simply click reply to 3 other people and write something in response to what they wrote. It doesn't have to be 250 to 500 words, right? I'm looking for shorter, 150 word responses to someone else. So the function of the discussion board is to try and get you to have sort of as much of a conversation or dialogue with other people as possible, given that we're online, right? So that's what you need to do by the end of the week, Friday, September 7th. Hopefully that's clear. And again, this is your first time going through it. Email me if you have any questions, and we'll figure it out. And that's it. That's Module 1. You have 2 weeks to complete everything. There are these specific due dates that you should keep in mind. Contact me if you have any questions. And then the rest of the modules are going to roughly be like this. All right? Good luck. Again, I know I keep repeating myself. Contact me if you need me or you have any questions. And I look forward to seeing what you have to say. I'll pop up in the discussion board here and there as well. All right. And away we go.